I'm holding a Slinky, a weak spring, vertically. The Slinky is extending due to its own weight. You can notice that the turns are farther here as compared to here. The turns are almost touching here. So extension is more here, that is extension per unit length is more here compared to here. And I'm going to drop this and watch what happens. Something interesting happens. You also listen to the sound. It might tell you something. Go. For comparison, let me drop a chain. Again, listen to the sound and as it strikes the wooden plate here. This is another tiny Slinky. Its bottom edge is level with the top edge of this box, almost. Let me drop that and maybe you can observe something interesting. Now some explanation for the behavior of the Slinky. Well, when the Slinky is held like this, if you consider a portion below a certain section, portion above and portion below, the portion below is held in that position by the tension of the spring above it. So unless the spring collapses to the point where the tension disappears, the lower section will not start falling. So the lower section falls only after the spring above it has collapsed up till that point. So the lowest element will not fall till the entire spring has collapsed up till that position. So the spring falls, the entire spring falls only after the spring has collapsed completely. Now different elements of the spring have different accelerations to begin with, more than g here, and this is 0. And well, this is an interesting position here, and well, the position is the center of mass which keeps moving down, in this case after a release, and that falls at g. That's the interesting part. And I was telling you something about the sound, and there is something interesting about the sound too. When the string completely collapses, all of it hits the support surface in one go, producing some kind of a thud. So that's the sound I thought you should note. In case of this chain, well, it doesn't deform due to its own weight. It's much too strong for that. So when it starts falling, all the falling elements fall with the same velocity and acceleration. The element which hits the surface will be brought to rest. Its acceleration will become 0, velocity will reduce to 0. But all the falling elements will have the same acceleration and same velocity till the moment they hit the surface. You must have noticed that these red portions, well, they are markers, and the distance between them does not change as the chain is falling. So they have same velocity at any moment. That's why the distance between them is not changing. Also, when it comes to sound, because different elements hit at different moments, it's kind of a continuous sound. And in fact, the time interval between the hits of the links becomes smaller as you go to the upper portion. As this element falls onto the surface, it has a higher velocity, so the time interval between successive hits of the links will be getting smaller and smaller. So the sound is interesting because of that reason too. There is nothing unusual about this, because what this does is same as what the longer spring does. But in this case, I could hold it a little above the surface, so the entire spring collapsed and then it fell down a distance before it hit the surface. So you could see that in slow motion. So Well, that's it. Now that you've watched everything in slow motion, maybe you can go back and watch the motion, actual motion, and you can perhaps see, because you know what to look for now. Go.